You are listening to Season 2 of The Diary of a Wannabe Writer, the short and often daily podcast in which I chronicle my life and attempt to be a writer by writing daily. Sometimes. Hello, today's... Oh, I got the day wrong. I nearly said Friday then. It's Tuesday, the 23rd of September, 2025, and you're listening to the Diary of a Wannabe Music Critic. No, writer. But today is the day that I listened to the album, or half the album, by that artist that I mentioned a couple of episodes ago. Again, I don't feel comfortable naming them. I don't think she's particularly famous, but I know she had a single that got played on the radio about 6 years ago and never really followed up on it because it was quite expensive to have that one single professionally produced, but now she's in a position where she can do more. And yeah, so the methodology I used today, when I first got asked to do it, I listened to the album, or the 8 tracks just as it was straight away, just to listen to them. But then today I took it a lot more seriously. I knew I would. I did tell her I wouldn't be able to listen to them properly until either yesterday or today, and I was so jet lagged and a mess yesterday. So yesterday it did not happen. But yeah, I listened to each track, and what I did was I listened to the track again with my eyes closed, effectively. Then I read the lyrics. Then I listened to it again with the lyrics in front of me, and finally then just listened to it a couple more times, making notes as I went. And I did this with all 8 the tracks, so I actually sent her quite a long, detailed email, which I don't think she was expecting. And I was a little bit worried because she'd asked me to be brutally honest. And don't get me wrong, I wasn't nasty. I think the overall vibe was that I really liked it, because I genuinely did. But there were things that I thought worked better than others, and I said that. So, yeah. So I was doing a live, because the other thing I felt, because I'd spent most of my day looking at that, and at about 8 p.m. I suddenly realised I really wanted to do some writing today, but I hadn't done any. And I really would like to hit my word target for the end of the month. If I don't, it's not a disaster, but it would be quite nice to. But I wasn't in the mood, and I thought, well, let's do a writing sprint and see what happens. And so I did a 25-minute writing sprint, got into it actually, wrote a bit more of the next scene, which is, it's sort of a continuation of the previous scene, really, the one with the Lady Desai and my new character, Mrs. Elizabeth Netter. And I wrote that, and whilst I was doing the writing sprint, I saw a notification through on Instagram, which is how I'd communicated with this person. And I thought, well, as soon as I finish the writing sprint, I'll have a look at it. And there was like a 5-minute voicemail, and I thought, okay, that's interesting. So I started playing it, and she was basically saying, sorry, there's quite a lot I want to talk about. It'd be much easier for me to just record a voicemail. I hope that's okay. And I assumed that the 5-minute voicemail would be feedback on my feedback. But when we got to the end of the 5 minutes, it was feedback on my feedback on track 1. I thought, okay, this is interesting. So she'd obviously really not taken on board, because I'm not arrogant enough to assume that she's going to listen to what I say and go, oh, well, I'm going to have to do that then. But no, she was commenting on my comments and sort of telling me a little bit about how the song had come about and stuff like that, which was really interesting. And then across the next probably 45 minutes, maybe slightly longer, the next voicemail would come through with the next or the next audio file would come through with the next sort of thoughts on the next song. So I didn't want to stop my live stream because I had a couple of people watching. So I do have a be right back screen. And I did say to them, look, I'm going to listen to this. But overall, I think my feedback was appreciated. It wasn't nasty. I'm not like that when giving somebody feedback. It was meant to be constructive. And there was as much in there that I liked. In fact, there was more in there that I liked than I didn't like. So I rounded off the email by saying basically that I really enjoyed it, and I would definitely buy it when it comes out. So a lot of the things that I didn't, because she'd actually said in advance, this isn't the final mix. So it will be different. But quite a lot of the feedback I gave is I thought there was stuff missing. You probably needed that there, but apparently the mix was basically it's not been professionally mixed, which is playing with the volumes to get each one right so that each element sounds right in comparison with the rest. And she was saying actually quite a lot of the stuff that I suggested was there, but because it hadn't been professionally mixed, it wasn't always obvious. And she gave me an example and sent me a link to one of the tracks which had a bit more mixing done on it, and it did sound much better. But no, I was just generally thrilled that she'd let me give her that feedback, and B, she asked for brutal honesty. As I say, I don't think I was brutal. I do think I was honest, and I did end it by saying, overall I really liked it and I would buy it, which I think she was pleased by, and I genuinely would. I'm not just saying that. And so that was a really positive experience. And she's actually asked me, so she gave me half the album. She's now basically said it might be useful for you to listen to the whole thing then, because basically one of the things I was querying was a track. I'm going to go over on this one, sorry. But there is an absolute skill in taking 10 songs and then putting them in the best order to listen to on an album. This is one of the things that playlists really piss me off, because there is an art to selecting the tracks and putting them in the right order. And I think playlists just erase that. You just play this song from the album, this song, and I kind of said to her that because she wants that the song is the tale of her life and it's chronological, and I kind of said that I felt that she shouldn't stick to that too much in case you've got similar songs next to each other, because I know they weren't written in the sequence that they've been presented, but she wants to present them in the order that they came in. But no, she said, well, actually, maybe you should listen to the whole thing, because I think I have got a good balance of different styles and, songs with a similar style not running into each other and stuff like that. So, and I'm really glad that none of it was taken personally, because I've followed her for at least 6 or 7 years on social media, and I think she's great. I think she's really talented. She does podcasts as well. At some point, if it looks like the album is ever going to be released, because she said she's not sure, she'd love to do a vinyl release, but that's very expensive and all that kind of stuff. So she's not quite sure the mechanic of how, or indeed if at all, it's going to be released. But no, she's going to send me the whole thing now, including the 8 tracks I didn't hear, so I can give her my thoughts on that. So that feels positive. It feels like I was constructive without being nasty. So that's really good. Right, as I said, I thought I'd overrun. Oh yeah, and then I went back and did another writing sprint. A couple of my audience members were still there as well, which is good. Did my second writing sprint and finished off the 0 draft of chapter 11. So it's been quite a productive day, actually. A little bit tight to get everything finished by the end of the month, so hopefully by the end of tomorrow I can get chapter 11 signed off, which leaves me about 4,000 words to write and sign off by the end of the month, but I am working quite a lot between now and then. Will I do it? We shall see. Thanks for listening. Take care. Bye-bye.
You have been listening to the Diary of a Wannabe Writer. For more information about what I'm writing, go to linktr.ee/Richard Writes, capital R, capital W, where you can find details of my website and social media. I may see you there.